The Tesla Cybertruck is out and it is on the streets now. People are starting to see them. Car guys are starting to put in their opinion. And I will say 99% of the opinions I've seen from like car guys and stuff like this, people that I like respect in this world, are bad takes. All of them, pretty much all of them. I've seen people saying stupid things, like car guys that I know have like F-250s and like big Silverados and stuff like that, like 2500, are making these ridiculous claims that I just cannot stand. They're out here like, oh, it's too big for the streets. Are you really going to start that? Are you really going to start saying that it's too big for the streets? Is that helping us in any way? Or, oh, the batteries are so bad for the environment. You're really going to start this? You're going to start giving the EPA this like ammunition about suddenly you care about the environment? Or you're going to go down that road? You're going to take this moral superior high ground against the Tesla Cybertruck when you drive a Silverado F2 or some kind of F-250 diesel, whatever it is, a Dodge, you know, you're burning coal, whatever, you're rolling coal, you're doing all that bullshit, and then you're going to try to take this moral superiority high ground against it from the environmental standpoint is just absolutely frustrating to see from my point of view, because why would you want to go down, like, people that are fighting the EPA for gas cars are legitimately going down this route of like, oh, the Tesla Cybertruck should be banned. Tesla should be banned because batteries are so bad for the environment. You're really going to start this argument of what's good and bad for the environment? They just leave it all alone. Stop saying that that's bad for the environment, because you're just literally going to point the finger at yourself in some way. You're going to roundabout point the finger at yourself if you try to do this. You're going to say like stupid things like, oh, well, you know, it takes a gas semi-truck to transport those things around the country, and that's bad for the environment. Is that your argument, that gas semi-trucks are now bad? The diesel-powered semi-trucks are now bad for the environment? Is that what you're going to use to attack the Cybertruck because you don't like it? You're going to start using the environmental protection stuff. You're going to start using the environment for your benefit now, all of a sudden, and then you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot. It's the same stupid argument that people had against the squatted trucks in North Carolina or wherever that was, people were like, those are bad, those should be banned. Car guys were actively petitioning to ban squatted trucks. And then that ended up just cascading to hurting all modified vehicles. Because who's to say, okay, so they write a law, squatted trucks are bad. So we're going to write the law that says you can't modify your vehicle. And then you supported that. Your congressman thinks, oh, well, you know, they want us to ban modified trucks because, you know, they're dangerous. Oh, yeah, all lifted trucks are dangerous because you change the whole crumple zone. You change what, you know, crash test rating and all this stuff. Great. Now look what you did. So you're going to do the same thing for Cybertrucks because you guys are idiots and you can't just accept that a Cybertruck is just as bad for the environment if you're going to make those claims as every other vehicle on the road. They all use precious earth materials. They all get transported by truck or ship or train or something. These are also made in the U.S., right in freaking Texas. And then you're going to claim that it's somehow worse than your Silverado that's made halfway overseas, most of it, and then assembled in Mexico and then shipped to Canada for final assembly or whatever they do now, because they don't make all of these in the U.S. They're made all over the world. These things are just as made in the U.S. as more made in the U.S. than anything else, but that's a side rant. Whatever you feel about looks, who cares? Whatever you feel about size, shut your mouth. Whatever you feel about the environment, shut your mouth. You're not going to help your case by attacking somebody else. Don't throw stones from a glass house. They want to shut you down too. Don't say, oh, it's too big for the roads, because guess what? The laws are now going to rule you out. That's how this is going to work. If you complain about this, we're all going to get screwed over by it. Oh, it's got too much batteries in it. Okay, great. So don't buy it. You know how that works? You know how capitalism works? You vote with your wallet. Don't buy it. I even see people, oh, well, it doesn't have real door handles. You have to push a button. That's dangerous for crash tests. That's dangerous for if you're in an accident. Have you ever been in like a McLaren or, a Mustang Mach-E? Same deal. Half these cars have a button now to get into them. And then people on the internet are complaining about the door handles on a Tesla now. It's just insane. People, and they're not just complaining about them. They're complaining in a way where they think something needs to be done. Someone from the government needs to step in because these Teslas are dangerous. And guess who you're going to end up hurting? Not the 0.0001% of the world that buys these. You're going to end up hurting everybody in a freaking Silverado. People like me in my 2500 that has a leveling kit on the front. Oh, now it's suddenly too tall, too big because you complained about a Tesla Cybertruck and now they had to change the law because a car guy was sad that a truck, looked like this or was like designed like this or whatever. These car guys make me freaking so frustrated. They're these fake car guys that only like gas vehicles or diesel vehicles. And then the second an electric car comes out, they're suddenly taking this environmental protection high ground. You can't take the environmental, you know how you can take the environmental protection high ground? Take a bus, ride a bicycle. You don't take that by attacking an electric vehicle because you're just gonna point the gun at yourself when you do that. You're gonna load the gun, hand it to the government, and then they're going to point it at you along with the Cybertruck. It is absolutely insane that people don't realize this. And I see it so frequently. And it happens all the time. I see it in comment sections. I see it in videos. I see people talking about it. They're like, oh, but what happens when you have to recycle those batteries in 15 years? I don't know. What happens when you have to recycle your 6-liter Power Stroke in 5 years because it blew up in 50, 60,000 miles? What happens then? You don't think that it takes a lot of resources to put that thing together? Or do you think that it just appears and it's great for the environment? It's the same. It is the same. I get it. You want to say a mine in Africa with children made this battery? Sure, probably. Are you going to say that your 6-liter LS was sourced with no suffering whatsoever? No one suffered at the hands of making this 6-liter LS. No, never. BP didn't, oil down all of the Gulf of Mexico so that I could have my petrol. No, that never happened. Think about it. You're just like, all of a sudden you can't take this environmental high ground. You just have to take the approach of it's all fine. The environment is changing. The climate should change. No one should try to stop the climate. We are not so advanced in our simple gorilla brains that we can impact an entire world climate. It doesn't work like that, and it never will. We have a dynamic climate. That's a whole nother rant topic for another thing. But to think that you can take the moral high ground on a Tesla is absolutely hilarious. Unless you're out there riding the bus, riding a bicycle, not wasting a bunch of gas or diesel on your giant lifted truck to drive around town. Maybe lay off the Tesla. Maybe. But if you want to take the moral high ground, just know when you hand somebody a loaded gun and say, get the bad guy, they're going to point at you. It's just how it's going to happen. They're not going to point at the $70,000 truck that only, 0.0001% of the US population will ever own. They're going to point at the guy that has a lifted truck that's dragging the muffler because he cut it off and, he's just trying to drag it around and he's just romping around the town with his cut off 5.3 muffler, sounding horrendous, with his lifted truck that can hardly get out of its own way because he put too big of wheels and tires on a stock cam 5.3 truck that's misfiring on 2 cylinders because he didn't spend money on, plug wires. He spent the money on a lift kit that has powder coated springs instead of spending money to actually make it run right. So just think about this stuff when you throw these stones that everybody seems so eager to throw. Just think about this a little bit and back up for a second and say, you know what? It's fine. They should make those Cybertrucks. People should buy them. And I think I'm going to fight for their right to own a 6,000-pound truck, because guess what? In the end of the day, I also own a 6,000-pound truck. And I hope that we can all own 6,000-pound trucks if we want to. If we don't want to, that's great. I also don't want to drive a 6,000-pound truck every single day, because that sucks. I like pulling into parking spots. So it just kind of makes sense. Not everybody's going to drive a 6,000-pound truck. Sometimes I like to be gas efficient. I don't need to have the biggest vehicle on the street. I prefer not to. I don't even want people to look at me. That's probably why I don't have a Cybertruck. Well, they're also like 70 grand. But regardless, guys, leave it alone. Enjoy that these can be made, and enjoy that there's a world where these are possible, and then just accept it and fight alongside of them if you don't want them to be against you, because that's insane to want what will probably be the only car company in the next 5 years that's actually American made. If you don't want them against you, maybe, stand with them a little bit, because guess what? Ford doesn't care about you. Chevy doesn't care about you. Dodge is failing. Ford is failing. They're all failing in the next 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. They're all failing. They're all going bankrupt. It's going to happen. If they don't get bought, if they don't get another whatever it is, government buyout, if they don't get more of that, I know Ford never did, guys. I get it. They got a loan. But if that doesn't happen again, they're all going to fail. You can't have these companies making this shit product for 10 years and expect it not to fail. All of their cars are going to fail. My 2017 Duramax is going to fail probably long before these Cybertrucks fail. Even, if you went and bought a 2023 Silverado, 2023 Cybertruck, drive them the same amount of time, I bet you the Duramax is going to fail 9 out of 10 times over the Cybertruck. It just is what it is. They're built like shit. Get over it. These are here to stay. They're probably better built than half of your cars. Yeah, they have shitty fender gap. Yeah, you may think that they look ugly, but guess what? Everything Ford and Chevy and Dodge are making. Dodge hasn't made a good vehicle in 15 years. Their transmissions break as soon as you floor it. If you try to go more than 60% throttle toe in a trailer, it's broken. I get it. I've dealt with these. So just leave it alone. Accept that, you're not going to fight for the environment by taking down a Cybertruck, because you're only going to get yourself. That'll do it though, guys. Thanks for listening. Just enjoy the Cybertruck. I'll see you guys next time. Guys, thank you for tuning in to the Bogetti Clips YouTube channel. For the full podcast, check us out on Bogetti Studios YouTube and all your audio platforms. Also, hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any of the new Bogetti clips coming up.